Trump explodes with rage at Iran's new leader, vowing revenge, and responds with a military warning that has raised the crisis to an alarming level. Mojtaba Khamenei, son and successor of Ali Khamenei, released his first public message this Saturday, July 11, 2026, since taking command of the Iranian regime. In a statement read on state television, he promised to avenge his father's death, who was assassinated during the attack carried out by the United States and Israel on February 28. Mojtaba stated that revenge is a demand of the Iranian nation and assured that it will happen even if he or other authorities are not present to carry it out. Trump reacted after Ali Khamenei's funeral was marked by posters and chants calling for the death of the American president and Benjamin Netanyahu. The President of the United States stated that 1,000 missiles are prepared and aimed at Iran, with thousands more ready to follow if the regime tries to assassinate him.
1,000 missiles are loaded and aimed at Iran, with thousands more ready for immediate launch. If the Iranian government carries out its globally announced threat to assassinate the current president of Zabrasi, Marcio, in this case, me. Orders have been given, and the armed forces of Zesewa are ready and able, for a year, subject to extension, to completely wipe out all areas of Iran. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump.
At the same time, Washington gave Tehran until this Saturday to publicly declare that the Strait of Hormuz is open, to prevent further attacks on commercial ships, and to abandon any charges for passage. What does the new Iranian leader intend to attack? Why did Trump put his military forces on alert? How will the regime respond to the ultimatum about Hormuz? I'll tell you all about it in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward and no-nonsense content, consider subscribing because we have videos like this every day. Mojtaba Khamenei took over as supreme leader on March 8, just a few days after his father's death. Since then, his absence from the public eye has raised doubts both inside and outside Iran. No images, voice recordings, or official appearances had been released since the attack. Sources interviewed by Reuters stated that he suffered injuries and wounds to his face during the same bombing that killed Ali Khamenei. Even without appearing before the public, Mojtaba decided to use his first message to promise revenge and maintain the regime's most radical rhetoric. The statement was broadcast after a week of funeral ceremonies and intense political mobilization. Mojtaba stated that the blood of the former leader and those killed in the two wars would be avenged. He also tried to broaden the threat by saying that the mission would not depend solely on Iranian authorities, but on supporters spread around the world. The statement aims to show continuity in Iran's leadership, but it also reveals the pressure on the leader who has not yet appeared in person since being chosen with the support of the Revolutionary Guard. Trump responded with a devastating warning. The president declared that 1,000 missiles are ready and aimed at the Islamic Republic. According to him, thousands more could be launched immediately if Iran tried to assassinate him. Trump stated that orders have already been given to the armed forces and promised a response capable of hitting important areas during a prolonged offensive. The message made it clear that any plan against his life would be treated as a direct attack on the United States. The warning did not arise solely because of Mojtaba's statement. Israel provided the United States with intelligence information that reportedly pointed to a new Iranian plan against Trump. The Israeli material indicated that Tehran was considering another attempt to assassinate the American president. Iran has promised revenge against Trump since the death of General Qasem Soleimani, who was killed in an American operation during the Republicans' first administration. Now this threat has grown even stronger with the death of Ali Khamenei and with his son rising to power. The funerals have also increased Washington's concern. Protesters carried signs calling for the death of Trump and Netanyahu. Religious authorities and figures connected to the regime used the ceremonies to fuel the rhetoric of retaliation. Instead of presenting a path to de-escalate the war, the new Iranian leader chose to turn his father's farewell into an open promise of revenge. Trump responded by showing that the United States does not intend to accept threats against its president without a strong response. The personal crisis between Trump and Mojtaba is happening at the same time that the two governments are disputing control of the Strait of Hormuz. Washington demanded that Tehran issue a statement recognizing that the passage is open and that no commercial vessel will be attacked. The warning was sent directly to the regime and its ruler instead of through regional mediators. An American official stated that there will be harsh consequences if Iran refuses to comply with the demand. Another said that it will not be a good day for the Iranians if the answer is negative. The ultimatum was triggered by attacks on ships crossing the region. United States authorities accuse Iranian forces of violating the memorandum signed 3 weeks earlier by repeatedly opening suppressive fire against commercial vessels. The attacks led to new exchanges of fire and brought the agreement close to collapse. Trump declared that the ceasefire was over, but authorized his negotiators to keep trying for a solution. However, time is short. The American government demands 3 clear measures. Iran needs to acknowledge that the strait is open, promise that ships will not be attacked, and guarantee that all channels can be used without any charges. Tehran wants to control the routes and force vessels to follow paths defined by the Iranian authorities. The regime also supports charging fees for passage. Washington rejects this attempt because the Strait of Hormuz has been treated for decades as an essential international route for trade and energy supply. Trump knows that allowing Iranian control over this route would give the regime the power to threaten the world economy whenever it wants to gain political advantages.
I saved money and had to return for my change since gas is cheaper now.
Thanks, Trump, for helping me save a little. We're at the first station of the Freedom Fuel Network in Philadelphia, leading the effort to lower gas prices, $3.47. This one is for the 47th President, Donald J. Trump. The gas price here is 50 cents lower than the average in the state of Pennsylvania, June 4th.
Gas prices are going down, which is great. The United States has directed ships to use a southern route near the waters of Oman. This passage reduces Iran's influence over maritime traffic. American officials stated that radical groups within the regime opened fire on vessels to regain leverage in negotiations. Iranian representatives denied that they requested new talks but agreed to participate in promotional contacts, promoted by mediators from Qatar and other nations in the region. An American official stated that Iranian representatives acknowledged that the attacks were a mistake and asked for the negotiations to continue. The information also indicates an internal dispute between members of the regime who want an agreement and sectors linked to the Revolutionary Guard who are betting on escalation. The Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, was sent to Muscat to discuss the crisis with the Omani Foreign Minister, Saeed Al-Thani Al-Oman. Saeed Badr Al-Busaidi. The meeting was scheduled for this Saturday and is expected to address maritime traffic, passage routes, and the conditions required by the United States. Washington expects Iran to issue a statement after the meeting. If Tehran refuses, military options are already being prepared. Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, and Oman are trying to prevent a new round of attacks. The Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif spoke with the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and with the Emir of Qatar to call for restraint. The Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said he believes a solution could still be found. These nations fear that an Iranian response could trigger attacks against bases, ports, and energy infrastructure throughout the region. Israel is monitoring the situation and maintaining direct contact with Trump. The Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz stated that his nation is ready to strike again with even greater force if necessary. Israel is also a central target because it took part in the attack that killed Ali Khamenei. Mojtaba is trying to use his father's death to rally the radical factions and prove that he has authority. His public absence, reports about his injuries, and his dependence on the Revolutionary Guard increased the need for a show of strength. The promise of revenge serves as a message to Trump, to Israel, and also to the internal factions competing for the future of the regime. Mojtaba promised revenge, but now he faces a president who claimed to have 1,000 missiles ready, a military alliance with Israel, and a network of nations pressuring Tehran to back down. The next Iranian response could determine whether the crisis will move toward a new agreement or another offensive at the heart of the regime. The government has nothing more to say about this. Follow our project and contribute financially using the Pix key shown on your screen. We are an independent channel focused on keeping you truthfully informed. Your contribution helps us keep going.